Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to another little throwback entry here for a film which is fitting for the season that we're heading into. And I've been doing a lot of entries recently that weren't horror related, so I really want to get back to it now that Halloween is right around the corner with the 1979 haunted house film, The Amityville Horror, starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder. And yeah, we've basically got Lois Lane and Thanos' dad as a married couple who, well, here's the synopsis for it. Newlyweds and their 3 children move into a large house where a mass murder was committed. They start to experience strange, inexplicable manifestations which have strong effects on everyone living in or visiting the house. So first off, I'm not going to go into the history of this house or the story that it's based on. That is a very long and involved kind of situation there. There's various essays written about it and videos that you can, of course, look up on YouTube. I'm also not really going to go into detail on the franchise as a whole. You know, a lot of those later films, as there are about 10, I believe there's about 10 that are directly related to this film, and there's about another 20 plus that kind of use the Amityville name and, you know, some of the themes that are in this film. So there's information out there if interested, but I'm just going to focus on my thoughts on this film, specifically the 1979 version. So I was pretty sure I'd seen this one way back, but I didn't really remember anything about it. Most of my memories about Amityville were about the remake starring Ryan Reynolds, which looking back, it probably would have been a really cool idea to have Josh Brolin take over that role from his dad. I just thought it would have been a cool thing. But anyways, so for this haunted house film, it's a creepy one for sure, especially with James Brolin's performance. That was definitely the standout thing for me, as well as his chemistry with Margot Kidder. But what it really brings to the table is something that was kind of repeated in the remake with Reynolds and sadly not repeated in other haunting films such as The Shining, where we get to see this gradual transformation of somebody who's kind of being affected by this haunting. So throughout the film, you know, we see Brolin becoming more and more affected by this haunting, literally becoming sick, both in the head and physically. And, you know, we kind of get to that point where even any of the interactions that he has with his family or with the family, with other people coming to visit, everything's just kind of starting to crash down here, you know, because early on in it, you know, Brolin definitely comes across as like so kind and caring and strong, you know. Throughout it, he kind of becomes reduced to, at best of times, a very moody person, and at worst times, very dangerous with his very angry outbursts as he's kind of withering away as this mental toll really sets in. Now, I've always found religious horror to be frightening. You know, this whole idea of, you know, what if everything preached to us, what, you know, by this faith or that was true? How can you get out of that situation? But for this one, you know, the degradation of that family and seeing their problems and everything falling apart is really what hit me harder in this story than any of the religious side of it. Though there were some very interesting scenes having a priest coming in to try to bless the property because this murder had happened and earlier, things that he's experiencing as the aftermath of that. Definitely some creepy stuff there. But, you know, as Brolin's character is kind of falling apart, you also really feel sorry for him because of that, because you see that transformation slowly. You know, rather than seeing his behavior as kind of like painting him as the antagonist in this, I really saw him as more of an eventual casualty or possible casualty of this story. And the performances, like his chemistry with Kidder and what they have with their family, really sealed the deal for this whole film for me. No one in this story was having an easy time in this house, but it felt like Brolin's character is kind of taking the brunt of it, while Kidder's character is just trying as best as she can to not just keep the marriage alive and the family going, but just survive in general, you know, protecting her children and protecting her family and her marriage, just trying to salvage something to get through this situation. And this film really gave me a persistent feeling of unease, and even after seeing the remake and several other haunted house related films, I was never kind of drawing a comparison between this style of film and another. I was just able to enjoy this one on its own. And the fact that this film holds up this well after over 40 years really says something about how they put the story together, you know, what they pulled from that source material, presented something for the screen, and how well they were able to execute that, and that it was still very enjoyable and worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this very quick little video here, a little recommendation for the weekend, to go ahead and check out Amityville Horror if you've never seen it, from 1979, or if you just haven't seen it in a really long time, it's definitely one that's worth revisiting. Now, at the time of this video, Amityville Horror is available on Max as well as various paid services, so if you are so inclined to give this one a shot, or if you haven't seen it in a while, go ahead over and check it out. Anyways, thanks for coming by and for sticking around to the end. Be sure to like and subscribe and do all those things like ringing that bell and all of that. And I will see you in the next one.